This is TW Wrestling Talk here with a match predictions Night of Champions edition of the program. Um, last month, of course, came off coming off a pretty good 7-1 prediction record from SummerSlam. So we'll see how I can do here with Night of Champions. I'm gonna kind of go up in a sort of an order of perhaps how the show could go. I mean, you know, cover obviously the World Championships last, um, but it appears there's a battle royal going on for the pre-show, um, which if you think about it, I mean, there could be a bunch of people in that. We don't even know who's in it yet. So I mean, to me that's not something I'm gonna pick, and so don't hold that against me. But I mean, whoever it is, I don't think that they're gonna beat Cesaro. So if you put it that way, I pick that in regardless of who wins. Antonio Cesaro, I think, will retain. Um, he just became champion. I think they want to see how he does with it for a little. So I mean, give him some time with it. Um, we'll see who wins, but the battle royal. But I think Antonio Cesaro, whoever it is, unless it's Ryback, but because there's a possibility that they could be, maybe they'll have him in it. Um, so if Ryback is in, um, if Ryback is the winner of the battle royal, then he faces Cesaro, then I definitely pick Ryback over Cesaro. Um, but if not, I'm taking Cesaro over whoever else wins if it's not Ryback. So, just keep that in mind. Because, I mean, it's a battle royal. It's not, totally fair when we don't know who the opponent for Cesaro is going to be. So, you heard what I said. Alright, and then we have The Miz versus Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara for the Intercontinental Championship. And nice. I like how they're doing a fatal four-way for this. Should be a nice match. I'm taking The Miz because in recent weeks they made him look weaker with the championship. And I think he's going to redeem himself. I think that's kind of their idea here. He hasn't been champion for long, and I think they want to have him champion for, some time, decent amount of time. I don't think his reign's going to be very short-lived. So taking The Miz. Who he pins, I don't know. I would maybe think Cody Rhodes, but that's as far as the result goes, I'm picking The Miz. Obviously, it's a tougher one. There's 4 people in it, but I'm taking The Miz. Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. I'm taking Dolph Ziggler. Randy Orton did beat Ziggler the first time they faced. Ziggler beat him the second time. I'm taking Dolph Ziggler because, Randy Orton, he's sort of jobbing. He's doing some upper card jobbing as of late. And Ziggler plus lost last month to Chris Jericho. I don't, considering that he's Mr. Money in the Bank, I think they should get him a win over Orton, make him look stronger, as he may be cashing in the coming months. It would just make him look more credible if he beat Orton, even if it's like a sloppy, kind of cheap win. Doesn't matter if he gets any kind of win over Orton. That'll help Ziggler in my book, regardless. So I'm taking Ziggler. Orton, I mean, again, he doesn't have much to win here. Whereas Ziggler, I think, needs to look, they need to make him look stronger in the coming months leading up to when he cashes in. Some speculate he might cash in tonight. Every pay-per-view can really speculate that. But that's a whole different thing in itself. I'm not going to pick when he cashes in because, I mean, they could tease it. I could see him teasing it tonight, but, you know, you just never know. That's something else. So, taking Dolph Ziggler. Um, R-Truth, Kofi Kingston versus Kane and Daniel Bryan for the Tag Team Championships. Um, well, Kane and Daniel Bryan, I think, are going to win this. Number one, you know, they're above, as far as, things go in this industry, they're above R-Truth and Kofi Kingston. Both former world champions. Um, people, they've both had a lot more airtime than R-Truth and Kofi Kingston, doing a variety of different things. Um, and people are just behind Kane and Daniel Bryan as of late. They are really doing, in the past month, they've done a great job. And I see them winning this match. Um, they're a hot tag team right now. Hot storyline, and you know, I think of all teams, they'd be the right guys to take it from R-Truth and Kofi Kingston, simply just because they're great wrestlers, and they're pretty. They've been in main events this year, over the summer. So I mean, it's. I think it's pretty clear WWE's trying to capitalize on how hot of a tag team they become, how great of a story it's been with them. They're delivering, and I think WWE will deliver the tag team championships to them as a result. Um, that'll be one of the title changes I predict. They at Night of Champions, they can't just leave all the titles the same. So I'm pretty sure the tag team championships are going to be changing hands. Um, and I think this will lead up down the road when they eventually would lose them. I would think it's all for their storyline. This is more for them than R-Truth and Kofi Kingston. So taking Kane and Daniel Bryan in that one. All right, Layla versus Caitlyn for the Divas Championship. Well, I don't. I'll be honest. I really tend not to care about the Divas division simply because this may sound cliche, but they, right now there's like not really any great Divas matches, not really great Diva wrestlers. Kind of just like bikini models, going at it. I guess. I mean, if that's your thing. That's um, I mean, you know, personally, I don't really care for it. Um, you know, but what I've gathered, Caitlyn in recent weeks, they've been building her up. They've been making her look good. Whereas Layla, what she hasn't done so much. Her whole reign, she hasn't done much because they just haven't paid attention to the Divas division all that much. Um, so, but they're building up Caitlyn. I think they're trying to get fans behind her. Trying to create a new top diva, perhaps. She just beat Beth Phoenix on SmackDown, so I'm going to say she takes the title here. That would be the second title change. I think 2 title changes is a good prediction for tonight, and I think the Divas Championship is going to change hands to Caitlyn. Could be wrong, but again, it's a Divas match. They tend to be just kind of dumb anyways. So, yeah, I mean, there wasn't even a Divas title match at SummerSlam. So, I mean, that just goes to show you, how pointless it can be sometimes with the Divas. Alright, Sheamus and Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Some have argued that Sheamus will lose his title here because he can't use the Brogue Kick. But I think what they've really been trying to do is build up his new Cloverleaf submission hold, and I see him making Del Rio tap out to that. He just made Daniel Bryan tap out on SmackDown with it. So, and I mean, I don't understand the point of having Del Rio win at all. Personally, the guys he's with right now are jokes. Otango's with him now, but they they both were standing there with neck braces on SmackDown. I mean, you just can't take Del Rio seriously. So I mean, how is he gonna pull off a win here? Um, I mean, people have argued that Del Rio will win only for Ziggler to cash in his Money in the Bank on him, but that might make him turn that you would think would make him turn face. Which I don't know if they're gonna do that. Um, Considering they kind of need more of a top heel on SmackDown. Del Rio doesn't count. He's not very. I'm sorry, he's not very good. Um, Ziggler, I think, would be much better in Del Rio's place. Um, and if Del Rio won, it would really look stupid because he's gotten title match after title match, and if he wins, if he won, it's like, oh yeah, well he won after 4 tries. So I mean, it's really, it would really make the championship, I think, look bad. It already kind of has. They've just been giving the same guy the same opportunity. This time, no bro kick, but I think, as far as the result goes, I pick Sheamus to win, and I think that he's going to make him tap out with the cloverleaf submission hold. Like I was saying, I think they should have made this a submission match to make, to play it up more. But it's just going to be a regular match, I guess. But I think either way, he's going to make Del Rio tap out with that submission hold and retain his championship. I mean, Sheamus is rolling with too much momentum, I think. Especially after that office segment on Raw with, Otanga. That was great. Sheamus has momentum, and Del Rio, I'm sorry, but you can take him as seriously as a fart in church, as far as I'm concerned. So, taking Sheamus, I don't see any point in having Del Rio win, unless they plan on turning Ziggler face and having him cash in. I could maybe, but other than that, there's no point. And I think Ziggler's fine as a heel right now, anyways. So, I think Sheamus should win, and I hope he does. All right, and then, of course, the main event, John Cena and CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Now, this is in Cena's hometown, which I guess explains why he's on the cover of the pay-per-view. Even though it is, I don't totally agree with that cover because he's not a champion yet. And I hope that the cover isn't going to spoil that, Cena, it isn't hinting at Cena's going to win. I don't want it to hint like something like that, and then make it look like, oh well, that's why they had him on the cover. I assume it's just because he's in his hometown, because I predict CM Punk's gonna win. I think they want the crowd to be behind John Cena, but I think CM Punk winning would keep this story more interesting. It's just as simple as that. They can find ways to get John Cena another rematch or two, even if he doesn't win, up until, when The Rock's chance at the Royal Rumble. There could be benefits of having Cena win the title, but I'd much rather see, I've preached this before, I'd much rather see CM Punk hold it until he's about to surpass John Cena's reign, and then give Cena a shot to end CM Punk's reign and take the title before CM Punk surpasses Cena's personal best title reign of 385 days, I believe. So I say keep it on CM Punk. He could, the crowd could really, not like that CM Punk wins, which could, definitely, it would definitely spark more here. And I've said this also, the build-up in the past month has been transitional, I think. There's been other stuff going on with CM Punk and John Cena, so I think there's definitely more to see here, but I don't think that the WWE Championship should change hands, quite yet. or until December for that matter, if it did. But again, I want to see CM Punk. Either way, I want CM Punk to face The Rock at the Royal Rumble, and if that means CM Punk loses it right before he, you know, right before he could surpass Cena's reign, and then CM Punk gets it back quick before the Royal Rumble, I'd be cool with that, but because I think that would be interesting. Either way, if they had a match, where CM Punk's reign could be turned into a longer one than Cena's best reign. So if they were smart, I think WWE would play that up and keep the title in CM Punk. And I mean, the longer CM Punk has the title, sometimes the harder it is and the bigger deal it becomes for him to lose it. So taking CM Punk, but I'm not totally sure. I guess we'll wait and see. It should be a good match. John Cena has had better matches with CM Punk sometimes than anyone else in his career. When he works with a good in-ring worker like CM Punk, Cena tends to look better. Cena, I thought, was awful at SummerSlam. He only chimed in with, his signature moves every now and then. But this is just Cena and CM Punk, and Cena says he's just gonna whip CM Punk's ass, so it might be different. So guess we'll just wait and see. All right. So again, let me just recap quick. Taking The Miz in the Fatal 4-Way. Taking Dolph Ziggler over Randy Orton. Taking Kane and Daniel Bryan. Taking the Tag Team Championships. Taking Cesaro retaining his title, unless Ryback wins the Battle Royal. If he wins the Battle Royal, then I say Ryback's going to take the title from Cesaro. If Ryback's not in the Battle Royal, and he's just in a match, like we've seen, then I obviously take Ryback in that match, whoever he faces. Might be probably unannounced, but maybe it'll show up on the cards, somewhere in the show. Taking Caitlyn for the Divas Championship. Taking Sheamus over Del Rio to retain his title, and taking CM Punk to retain his WWE Championship. I think WWE will figure that, changing the Tag Team Championships and the Divas Championship, changing those two titles, I think they might think is good enough as far as, titles changing hands goes, changing the landscape a little bit. So that's what that's what I'm picking. So see how I do. And please reply if you have, if you have any differences in opinion of how these matches might turn out. Feel free to comment. I'd like to hear from you. I always like if there's someone, if someone brings up a point that I maybe didn't consider in my picks, I like, hearing that kind of stuff. So feel free to comment. Thanks for viewing. And stay tuned for the next edition of TW Wrestling Talk, which should include a review of and a look back at Night of Champions, and perhaps maybe condensed with some stuff that happens on this coming week's Raw. Alright, thanks again for watching.